You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Oh dear. That was. Hey everybody, it's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. What's happening? I don't freaking know. It's windy. I've got cars in Mordor. The orcs are just really ramping things up. What a terrible day. What a terrible day to be alive. But it is not a terrible day for wrestling chat, and that's what we're going to have here now tonight. Wrestling chat. We're going to do an episode of the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. Last time we had picks. This time we have general banter. So enjoy all of that. I am Ransom. I am one of your hosts. I'm going to give you a little bit of my lunacy here on the intro, and then I'm going to bounce out. But I will leave you in the capable hands of these three gentlemen who are going to grace you with their presence here this evening. We have, as always, Poot the Bard, Tiger Bomb Tom, and a special treat for everybody. Yes, that's right. We were bested on some sort of ridiculous question. I can't remember if it was AWA or New Japan or some sort of lunacy that's not WWE or AEW or WCW. But the stinker, he freaking did it again. We'll never be champs. We'll always be chumps. That's right. Pat, the Midgard Maniac, is on the show with us this evening, and he has got some speakies to do at you about wrestling because he beat us. He's rubbing his face in it, rubbing our faces in it, and it's not going to go well. Beef is so distraught that he lost the Stump The Chumps for us that he has taken a powder. He's powdering his chapped backside, and he can't. He can't be on the show with the Maniac because if these two were together, there would be fireworks, there'd be yelling, screaming, cursing. Basically the same thing that there is on every episode, except Beef would be feuding with the Maniac instead of feuding with one of us. So there's a tree for everybody. Poot the Bard, Tiger Bomb Tom, Pat the Midgard Maniac. Take it away, boys.
Bake them away, toys. All right, we can do that. So bye, Ransom. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thanks everybody. Bye. So wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna start this out. Ready? Because it's myself, Tiger Bomb Tom, and the Midgard Maniac. Ready? B team, go, go, go. B team, go, go, go.
Hey, I'm here.
Wait, what?
You're back?
What?
Yeah, back.
What?
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 What? You're
What?
so are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Yep. You're
Yeah. Let's do it.
okay. Okay.
Oh, fuck this.
Don't,
If Beef's
don't look
back,
at the-
I'm staying too
Look
because
at-
I'm going to do yelling.
Don't look him
Yes.
don't look him in the eyes. Don't look. Oh God, there's 5. God,
Can you imagine
almighty.
how big of a shit show this is going to be? It's going to be ridiculous.
There's gonna be at least 30 seconds worth of all 5 of us talking at the same time, and then
Nope, I'm gonna mute.
and then Beef going, all right. Listen.
So never mind my intro. Beef is here. I'm sticking around. Let the chaos ensue.
Well, it's true. Let's squash. Let's bury the hatchet right now. Let's call out the elephant in the room. Let's do it. Maniac, what do you have to say,
Yes.
Beef, about losing that question? You know, what do you have to say about that?
I'm just surprised he came back on because technically I beat him.
Oh,
Wow,
no.
damn Gina.
Good.
Well, you
Really-
really tickled
really kicking
Tom's
it off
giggle
here.
button there.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did.
Well, he pushed so hard
Pat,
on
if
that
you would
anthem.
like
He
me
thought he-
Pat, if you
You
would
th-
like me to leave, you just need to say leave, and I will leave. You dumb
oh.
jerk.
Oh no, it'll be more fun to torture you while you're here. So
Wow.
you just stay right there, buddy.
I have never been so accosted in all my damn life.
Oh, poor baby. Cry river,
Wow.
Bill Bridge, get over.
Healing it up. I love it, Pat. Keep it up. Keep up the good heel work.
Don't you worry about it.
Pat, I need
got
you.
this.
I need you to calm down here a bit, okay? Because you're going to stress out my buddy Beef, and I can't have you bringing negative energy down on the champ. I can't have it.
So now there's a herald involved.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to have words here.
What do you guys want to talk about? about
Beef just glossing right over it, just moving right along.
You guys want to
We're
talk about football? The
we're talking about-
XFL cocks off.
Cocks off.
It's gonna cock off, all
cocks.
right. It's gonna cock off, all right. It's gonna
Smell what
cock
the
off.
XFL's cooking.
It's gonna cock off after one season. That's what's gonna happen.
Kick Cox, Dick Kick City. What?
We'll see. I bet you XFL has as good, if not better, ratings than AEW.
I can't wait for the XFL to last one season and Beef to buy a new XFL jersey just to have it go back in the pile. It is useless again.
Shut up! I'm not buying. I've already looked into it because I'm like, oh, the numbers are different. Son of a bitch.
Mhm.
The numbers are different. I need a new jersey.
See?
Plus, they have the cool little the little rock Brahma Bull logo in the back, and I'm like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
my
Definitely gotta have that.
hey, my name is Beef. Cow skulls and bull skulls are kind of something that I sign up for.
Hey,
Yeah,
anyway,
cow-
Beef,
cow
I'll buy
head and
XFL
bull sperm.
jerseys
You
and
got
then
it.
regret it later.
Okay, I hate you guys so much. I should've just
Listen, no one did this to you. You came back very
Yeah, I
nonchalantly.
You
back
chose this. You chose
I-
this.
I wandered back in myself.
God
This is
didn't
my
do this.
fault.
You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But well,
So,
I kind of would like to get what we were talking about at the end of the last episode. If you wanna catch Pat up there, champion, oh captain, my captain, for what we were going on about, so that we could get his take on it. I would kind of like to hear his take.
So, not to
I
get
wouldn't.
too spoilery for you, Pat, because I
Mhm.
don't want you to be in any way spoiled, because I want your picks to be on the level. That way you have no excuses whenever you lose again,
Oh.
and I can berate you some more. But,
Just like you did, so I could be on this episode. So go ahead.
okay.
Oh.
I'm going to start walking around my driveway like Ransom does. All right. So, I've been dropping little
wheeze.
trinkets of knowledge, not knowledge, of doubt, saying "what if" all week. What if Sammy wins at the Chamber?
No.
And you're just flat out saying no. You
Wow.
don't think there's a chance in hell at that? Okay.
Nope.
All right.
If he wins, it's going to be a dusty finish.
That's ironic given the
Oh, yeah.
the state of things.
No pun intended.
Right. Well,
Waka
pun a little
waka.
bit intended. I mean, so you don't think that you're effectively giving it a 0% chance of happening.
Not saying he couldn't win. He is not walking out of there with the world title.
Okay. That's something I can get behind. I think now, to be fair,
To
Not
be
the-
fair, no
I
one
just
else.
look up
God damn it,
Sanguinets.
no.
I
Okay.
went in the other direction. Shut the fuck up, Sanguinet.
Yeah.
they have done this in the past, where they have changed a title at Elimination Chamber, specifically like the month before Mania. And let's not forget the carefully plotted out path of the Intercontinental title and the Hardcore title before WrestleMania 15, just to get juxtaposed the week before on Raw with Road Dogg and Billy Gunn trading the titles. So, like, weird things do and have happened. But no, I believe the same. I don't think they're gonna make a title change this close to Mania, because it
No.
would be silly. It would be silly. But I think
He said
And then
really
you-
unconvincingly.
well, it would be, but I think they're definitely in like almost a one-night stand scenario here. And then this is absolutely self-inflicted. I don't think that Elimination Chamber was announced until like December like the location. So like they were pretty deep in this angle when they decided to go to Montreal in February with the storyline. So now we're potentially in a if Cena wins, we riot territory.
Oh,
Ugh.
Which made for great TV, but I just and we kind of talked about this a little bit at the tail end of the last show. I don't know if there is a way that they can book the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks technically, without having some sort of a negative reaction.
This
go
has
on.
shades. This has shades of Montreal Screwjob happening all over again.
Oh, there's an interesting angle that none of us really thought about. But yeah, I mean that would be ironic, maybe heavy-handed.
But I don't think it'll be a title change though.
Right.
I think that bringing I think even like bringing up the name of the Montreal Screwjob just like gave Bret Hart another stroke. So
I think
we got to be careful, guys.
well, nah, I don't know. Put him out of his misery.
Oh.
I'm just trying to pop beef and Bret Hart's head. The thing is, I saw that as well. People postulating the idea of like a this generation Montreal Screwjob. It would be interesting, but I feel like enough people would kind of like, for lack of a better term, poo-poo it. Then that like people would be like, oh, okay, they're just redoing this shit. Like, not that it was shit. Like, I mean, it was what it was, but like it like, I think it would be people like, they would be able to kind of see the forest through the trees, that it's like, oh, this isn't organic, it's planned.
And that's what made the Screwjob so interesting, is that it was, a shoot, allegedly. I know that there are those out there who fucking live and die by saying that it was a work.
Watch out, we're getting tinfoil Hattie.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, man, there are people out there
I
that
know.
absolutely believe that the Montreal Screwjob was a work.
I know. Like, what, Jim Cornette?
No, I don't think it's Cornette. I think you have to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, I obviously I don't think it was at all. But
Also, you shouldn't call Corny's wife that. Come on.
Oh boy. But yeah, man, I just like I feel like they have to be very careful with the booking of Saturday night and the next 5 weeks. They have to order their steps very carefully, or we're in another situation where the crowd's going to potentially spoil WrestleMania. What is that? What sound? It sounds like it sounds like someone smacking Gak this time.
That's what I do in my spare time.
Smack the gack.
Yeah.
Well, what you like to do on your own time is your own personal business.
Mind your station, Pat.
Mind your station.
Mind your
Wow.
station.
Jeez.
What the hell?
Well, I don't know, man. Like that, and again, I know I bring this up every once in a while, but it's what?
happened?
Your Homsar lead-ins always get me. That thing's gonna happen. It just always pops me silently. It's a silent pop, but I actually had to.
Listen, man, this is an old computer. It's got to take a second to process. All right. So like the thing that I think that's great, and I bring this up every once in a while, is that we're having these conversations about WWE again, of going, what if, like, even a bunch of what ifs, but also this could happen, this might not happen, this is great. Like, I'm glad that it's there, because you remember that long stretch of time where everything was just super predictable, like just telegraphed everything. Like, so,
It's just bad, man. Like
Yeah.
like we, like we read something that Vince said or wanted to do online, and we're like, oh boy, I sure hope that this doesn't happen. And then sure enough, it fucking happened, and it's like, oh.
yeah, and we'd always come in here to every episode with the all right, we got to talk about this, I guess. Like, we had to, it was basically like, okay, we got to talk about it, I guess. Like, and now we don't. It's not an I guess. It's getting to talk about it. Like, I think that's great.
I mean, honestly, like we've been very heavy on AEW talk the last, I don't know, year or so. But pretty much since Vince went bye-bye, we've been real hard on WWE, like not like hard on them, but like, covering them with much veracity. So that in and of itself is kind of a big deal. Almost to the detriment of AEW,
I love how on this
Totally.
episode, like, everyone's kind of like, it's like the 5 Spider-Man meme where we're all pointing at each other going, who's gonna talk?
You talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good. We're all being, gentlemen.
excessively polite.
Backhandedly polite.
To our own
That's-
detriments.
That's why I had to come back. I knew that you guys would be all polite and quiet, and I knew that somebody had to talk. So.
Wow. All right. What was that? What was that laugh? That was like a Coach on Letterkenny laugh. He just gave you like a but so why don't we think forward past Mania, because we've talked about like ways that it could go, what could happen. Like, let's just put out there that Roman does lose both belts at Mania, right?
Yeah.
He drops both belts at Mania. The belts are divided. Now there's just kind of more playground for people. What's next? Like, where do we go from there?
Hold on.
What?
Hold that thought. You
All
say
right.
he drops the belts and both belts are divided.
Yeah.
What makes you assume they're going to divide the belts again?
I don't know, man. I just kind of get the feeling that they're not gonna have the whole like 2-belt champion thing. I feel like with the way the roster is, with the way that creative is being done now, I feel like it would behoove them to have 2 champions again.
See, there's pros and cons for either side. I feel like having one singular world champion means you're the face of the company. You are the, no pun intended, as we all know the damn different monikers that Roman's gone through, the big dog and whatever. But it means that you're the top dog. I don't feel like it's a bad thing having one singular world champion. But and it's kind of point proven right here, right now, as we stand, because Roman's involved in not one, but 2 different main event storylines. You got Roman versus Cody, you got Roman versus Sammy, and they're able to still divide that up. They're still able to, make it work. He doesn't have to be on both shows necessarily, but there are ways around it. I feel like doing that, then it puts a little bit more a little bit more shine and a little bit more importance on the Intercontinental and the United States titles. Keeping those separate, keeping one on one show and one on the other, I think is fine. I don't know. I always hated having that kind of. I don't know if anybody else ever did. I always hated having that kind of inner monologue debate, like, well, which is more prestigious, the WWE Championship, which has been around for forever in the company, or the World Heavyweight title, which has arguably also been around as long, if not longer, considering depending on how you trace the history back from WCW and what NWA, that shit, whatever. Like it just, I always hated that like little bit of like, well, okay, this person's better because they're the World Heavyweight Champion, or no, this person's better because they're the WWE Champion. Like, no, have
So-
one fucking top champion. You're the world champion. Like
So,
that's.
Are
I
you
don't know.
are you postulating then in this scenario that legacy and time doesn't matter?
I think I feel like it's more so what I'm thinking they do after Mania. It's not necessarily having two belts. They could combine it back into one singular title and call it call it whatever the hell you want. But I feel like if there's a top title in the company, there should be one top title. It shouldn't be a top title for one show and a top title for the other. Like,
So
I
are you
mean-
saying then at least merge them into one belt?
yeah, that's fine. Like, I mean, that's what they did whenever they unified the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship in the first place. I was fine with that. Why they had to do a universal title too is beyond me. Like, I don't know. I get it that you would want to. I understand the want and sometimes the necessity for having a top champion on each show. But if you're going to do that, then I don't feel like it should be world title and whatever the hell else you want to call it, because it doesn't make sense to me. The world title should be the top of the chain. Now, since you have, in the case of the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships, if you want to do it that way, fine. Call one the Raw World Heavyweight Championship and call one the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship if you're going to do that. I don't know, but like, I don't know. It kind of always irked me. It's just, that's my own personal take. And I know that I'm in the vocal minority with that one. So go ahead, berate me now.
Once every
Get 'em.
few years, everybody's like, "Hey, we should combine the titles to make one champion of the whole WWE." And everyone seems to think that's a great idea. Sure, awesome. Except when you realize that the roster of the WWE 2K23 video game is like 250 people. And yes, I understand that that's Legends, and yes, I understand that there's some NXT in there too. My point remains is that they got a big fucking roster, and they have a bunch of people who I don't think are being used to their full potential. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, to name two. I could keep going.
Yeah.
Karrion Cross, fucking Riddle, I think needs to get there. Randy Orton, one of the greatest of all time. All of these people absolutely could and should hold world titles. So here's the zenith of the argument. People want one world champion because it's more prestigious. People always also want one long big reign because it's more prestigious. But then you have 95% of your roster who's never going to get to hold a world title or for any good long amount of time. Two champions with this size of a roster makes sense. Hell, two champions with the size of AEW's roster makes sense. As far as ranking, I'm kind of with Tom. Like, I think that we need to kind of leave. Like, there needs to be a Raw champion and a SmackDown champion. Like, I don't care if you like fuse those two champion lineages into the WWE championship. If you just split the champion, but having one called the WWE championship and one called the Universal title, or the big gold belt, or whatever you want to fucking do it. It's just bad off. because at one point you're going to say which is better. Whereas if you have the Raw champion and a SmackDown champion, hey, then you have a good reason to do bragging rights every once in a while. Not the full show, but mind you, just like Survivor Series or some shit like that.
So, are you saying that the Raw champion and the SmackDown champion would both be considered the WWE champion?
I'd be fine with that, honestly.
Oh.
I hear some thoughts.
So you're saying just constant double duty?
No. 2 different belts, 2 different people. The same championship.
What he's saying is instead of having like how we had so stick with me here. Whenever they unified the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, and it became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, one belt. Then they decided to make the Universal Championship. So you still had 2 top titles. What he's saying is you could make the WWE Championship your Raw Championship. You can call it the WWE Raw Heavyweight Championship. You could take the Universal title and you could call it the WWE SmackDown Heavyweight Championship, or vice versa. Either way, one or the other doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Personally, I would go with the WWE Championship becoming the Raw one, because that was more so the flagship show to get everything started. Regardless, neither here nor there. But that's what Beef is saying. Instead of calling them that, instead of calling one Universal and one WWE title, which that was my point too, is because then it just murkies the, I don't know. You know what I'm saying, Beef. Like,
absolutely.
One. And like I said, I agree with you on certain points. Like, I can see the need for 2 champions when you have such a huge roster, and I get that. So that's my only point of contention, is if they're continue to gonna have these split rosters and they're gonna keep them largely segregated and not mixing them in with one another, then yes, do that and call the titles something else. That's fine. But I don't know. Otherwise, I would rather just have one WWE champion, like one WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and you could bounce them back and forth between rosters, because honestly, it would be nice, like if they're on one show or something like that, if they're largely featured there, you could bounce them over to the other show or something and have them do some stuff over there. I get it that the other big point, the other problem you run into is you also run into issues with networks, because Fox is going to want, they're going to want the world champion on their show. And if Fox is paying you more money than USA is, well, then you curtail to what, Fox wants a little bit more, or vice versa. It's so there's a lot more to it than just a fan's perspective. There really is literally the business side of it too. So that's a whole lot to think of, and that's stuff.
I want to circle back around, because we're basically at semantics at this point. I want to circle back to something around Poot said. Poot starts off the scenario saying Roman Reigns loses both belts at WrestleMania. ... Does he though?
Yes.
So, I've seen several Roman Reigns 900-day posts over the last couple of days, and there seems to be, I wouldn't call it a groundswell, but there seems to be some support for getting 1,000 days, which would obviously lead him past Mania and pretty much through SummerSlam. I'm saying maybe not lose at all. I honestly think.
Wow.
Whoa. All right.
So that's not my opinion. That's just something I can see coming. You know, I think that their original plan was to have Cody beat Roman night 1, and then Roman beat The Rock on night 2. And then when it was clear that The Rock wasn't coming back, that they wanted to throw all that money at Austin. Hey, come and lose to Roman Reigns on night 2. That way he could retain one of his belts, probably the Universal title, since that's the one that he's had the longest, and continue that reign by beating one of the greatest of all time. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Neither one of those two things are going to happen because we're past the Royal Rumble, and there's no like talk of that at all. So now you come to a place where if they wanted him to hold on to one of the titles, it doesn't look like at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to separate them. At this point, it looks like it's going to be a joint venture.
Huh.
Therefore, and again, I'm not saying I'm a proponent of this. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. That there are those who absolutely want Reigns to eclipse the 1,000-day mark.
I mean, records are meant to be broken. So
I mean, if he's going for fucking Bruno's record, we're
that's never.
we're not going to watch him. Yeah.
No,
No one's ever going to do that, especially in the modern era, because nobody has. Let me curtail this. The general average person does not have the attention span for that. However, there are exceptions to the rule, and this Bloodline storyline has been the exception to that rule, that people can keep their attention kept that long under the correct conditions, under the right kind of storytelling.
But this has been 3 years, and we're kind of saying, hey, it's time. Imagine 5 more years of this.
We also don't. Don't have the in the wrestling fan zeitgeist, and even just wrestling as a whole. And I think you guys would agree with this. Kayfabe does not exist anymore. It's just we know more than they used to know, and how people treat it. I mean, when Bruno lost that belt, the arena was dead silent. It wasn't even silent when Taker lost the streak, where it was mumblings and grumblings. It was you could hear a pin drop in that place. We just don't have that anymore. The reason that Bruno could hold it is because he went territory to territory. He went all over the place. And it was believable that it's who can be Bruno? He's just big and strong, and he's a big strong boy. Who's gonna be?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yes, the one good thing about that movie.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Coco was better. With that though, that's the thing, is it's two different worlds. It can't. Bruno's record has to stand forever, because it's just not the same world.
Yeah, it's like you said, yeah. Kayfabe doesn't exist anymore nowadays. So there's all the information that's out there, it's everything. It's so much harder to pull off the believability of stuff. It's great when you can get some of the storylines nowadays, and you see glimpses of them every so often where they do something and it's oh wow, they play off of the real life stuff, and they do something just a little bit to tweak it just a little, just to make you wonder. That's honestly that's probably the best time, best kind of storyline in my opinion, because having been a fan for so long, we sit here, point proven, we do the predictions and stuff like that, and we sit here and we throw out these scenarios, and sometimes we are dead on. Other times we're way off. But I mean, in a general sense, I feel like we got a pretty good hold on where they take the business and stuff like that. Whereas back in the day, you had no idea. You had no idea at all.
I knew.
So
Of course-
wrangling
of
these
course you
cats, we're predictably off point here.
What?
Well, yeah, right. Roman Reigns, 1,000 days plus. Where are we at with that? I'm taking the temperature because I think I feel like I know that we're all like pro Cody winning at Mania. But what would you think if he didn't?
Oh.
Good, Ransom.
Oh, you know, you know,
Are we saying broken TV?
no, I don't, that would be, oh man. So that hasn't even really factored into my thinking at all, because like we on the last show we're discussing like what are they going to do if they have to factor Sami Zayn into Mania. I don't think anyone was thinking, oh yeah, freaking Roman Reigns could beat everyone in Elimination Chamber, beat everyone at Mania, and just freaking keep going. Like, I think most people, as far as like I know, most people that I've talked to, not like most people on the internet and stuff, because I don't know them, but like I think most people that I know are thinking Cody takes it at Mania. I don't think that Roman winning at Mania has factored into my thinking at all.
Well, think about it now, baby.
I don't know what to do with that. I don't.
Now, I have heard an interview with Cody when he's talking about WrestleMania. And funny about what he says he's number one interest is winning the WWE Championship. He doesn't say anything about the Universal title.
Well, that's true.
I absolutely think that they're keeping their options open because, quite frankly, I kind of feel like they have an option A, B, and C on the table right now. I read something, I don't remember what journalist, but they said about how like things aren't going off the rails anymore. Scripts aren't being torn up at the last minute. Things aren't being changed. That they have plans in place and they're carrying through with those plans.
Well, it's because the crazy old man isn't in charge of creative anymore.
Exactly.
Give him a minute.
Because long-term planning, shut up. Because long-term planning is
Shut up.
is actually paying off here. But, again, here we are, like we're all like, we want long-term stories, we want everything else. And then like WWE finally has a great long-term story and some other guy's going to win the titles. Like,
And we're going, yeah, we want the titles off.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, no matter what, this is the age of discontentment, man.
Someone's going to be miffed.
Right. People are going to be pissed about something regardless. It's about getting the biggest general swath. I remember when Roman 2 years ago beat Danielson and Edge, and he stacked them on top of each other and pinned them at the same time. And I was like, boy, that's a fucking baller move. God help me. I don't hate the idea of Roman beating Sami at Mania and then Roman beating Cody at Mania.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm actually with you, Beef. I
Shut
honestly,
up.
He didn't mean literally.
Keep going. It's just you're starting to make me sweaty with all this talk about Roman continuing to win. I'm getting sweaty here.
walk it off.
I can't walking off. Damn it. I can't go back outside. The wind.
Well, it'll help you be less sweaty. You'll get all.
I got scolded by Poot.
You can mute and cool off, and then
Did you
come
just
back.
call me a mutant?
He got
No,
that, you
but
know.
you
I
could
mean,
be.
he might have. Ransom, get him.
The point
Got the
is
fuck
flying
off.
away.
Anyways,
The point is flying away. Tom, please go ahead.
fucking cats. Try to wrangle it. Anyways,
It's being taken
no,
away with the wind.
Kettle? Pot?
I honestly, I wouldn't be completely upset if Roman did retain, because it keeps the heat on him, and that's the one thing you got to think about is like, who's taking the heat? After something big like this or whatever, after any big angle, who's going to have the heat on them? Well, it'd be Roman, but I don't know. Just the way with everything, the way that everything else has been shaping out over the last, after the last month and a half or so, I don't see it going that way. So I'm not opposed to it, but realistically, I don't think it's going to go that way. The only way that I see Roman, getting the 1,000 days plus is if somehow in between now and then, if they do some sort of official contract signing or whatever they decide to do, if they have Cody say that he specifically only wants the WWE championship. So if they do that, then Cody beats him for that. Roman hangs on to the Universal, gets his record, whatever. But then do you feel like that Sammy really, who beats Roman for the Universal? Do you have Sammy do it because then he finally gets his? By that point, does anybody still care at that point? I don't know. Like it just seems unrealistic to drag it out that long. I don't know.
Beef, I don't like that idea that you've planted. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm upset now because I didn't even factor into my thinking at all until
Ransom's getting upset.
Ransom's getting upset. Like, oh, what if Roman Reigns hands on in her? Damn you! Like, don't you stop it.
I will say what I've said the last 6 months.
Say it again.
Which is that this should be 2 titles, 2 nights. Roman loses one, defends the other. I don't care if it's The Rock, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Solo Sikoa, Kevin Owens, Steve Austin, Kenny Omega. I don't care.
CM Punk. Stop it! Don't even. That's ridiculous.
That's a different tangent altogether that I had about Dynamite last night. But my train just derailed. Oh god,
Good.
It's like Ohio. Thoughts and prayers,
No.
and in all seriousness, like that's something that should be fucking talked about, but no one's fucking saying a peep. Anyway,
Say a peep. I'm doing business here.
Oh god, my point is this: I think Roman should lose to Cody, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. He should lose the WWE Championship to Cody.
But he should stay Universal Champion.
I think he should be whoever else on the other night, and I think they could. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on Saturday night if they can get creative and get inventive with this, and see what we're gonna see. Because the other option is, on night one, the other main event being the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, which I don't hate either. But I think if you're looking for WrestleMania main events, I think Roman Reigns should be part of both of them, honestly, and should lose one title and keep the other.
Now,
And
if
that's
that's
gonna hurt a lot of feelings, because Sammy getting to WrestleMania and not getting his moment is going to piss a lot of people off. But imagine stacking another year of Roman as champion on Sammy winning the Rumble next year and finally getting the breakthrough. And I know that that's requiring a lot of patience. And I know that we as wrestling fans don't have a lot of patience.
It'd be magic,
But think, dude.
But that's the thing. Like, are they going to drag it out? Are they going to drag Roman, Sammy out that long? And are people going to care that long? I think people would care that long, but does WWE have the ability to cultivate a good enough story to keep people's interests?
I think you have them like. Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Why couldn't he do it at SummerSlam?
Well, yeah, you could. You absolutely could, and that would get Roman to his 1,000 days. I just feel like I don't know. And maybe you're right. Maybe that is the best angle to go with. I just like my thought was, like all things, you have Sammy take his licking at WrestleMania, and kind of go and do his own thing. Him and Kevin can feud with the Usos for a while, and then eventually just like separate from the bloodline altogether. But have Sammy kind of like be in that, taking up space in Roman's head. For example, just spitballing here. If Sammy were to win on Saturday by countout or countout disqualification, he's the guy that gave Roman Reigns his first singles loss in like what, a year or 2 years or whatever. So like Sammy's just there, always there. Roman's making a title defense. Maybe we see Sammy in the back looking over Roman's shoulder. Like maybe there's a tense moment of them on screen. Just like something to keep like Sammy in that orbit until Rumble. Sammy wins, gets the big shot at Roman, WrestleMania 40.
Oof.
See, I'm kind of along the lines of with the question that Ransom asked. Is
Yes, Ransom.
Yes, Ransom. Does the WWE have the ability to make the story continue that long, to do a story that long that people are going to be that emotionally invested in? And I think to kind of add a caveat onto that is, do you really think that you can, how long do you think you can keep the lightning in the bottle? They struck the gold mine with this bloodline storyline.
I mean, Sammy has shown that he has the aptitude to keep it going, though.
Yeah,
like this was supposed to be a 2-month angle, one and done, and he has made it what it is today.
Right.
I'll
okay,
say
but
this.
Now hold on. But you're forgetting that Sammy has only come into like the Sammy has only been a part of the bloodline storyline for the later part of it. The real start of the whole bloodline was everything between Roman and Jay and Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. And then that got crappy and boring.
Oh.
Roman was winning every single match by outside interference. And I don't care what anybody says. It was becoming very rough.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Sammy gave it the shot in the arm it needed, and has made it has made us forget about the doldrums.
Nah, I didn't forget. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
My point remains that I think that yes, they could, but there's an X factor that nobody's mentioned yet.
Solo Sikoa?
Samoa Joe. I love the beef sigh.
Maple Leaf Muscle.
I've learned from the masters. It's not quite the poot sigh, but
The gobbledygooker.
Stop it. Everybody just stop it. I'm gonna server mute the lot of you. All right.
Everybody stop it.
I believe that the WWE is going to be sold by SummerSlam. So that
I'm buying it.
absolutely, good luck, could factor in to all of these
Beast?
things.
Good luck,
Please.
son of a bitch. That's basically what he said. I heard it.
Fucking guy.
You did. All of you have this coming. You. My heart blood. So, best laid plans of mice and men. Like, they could be like, hey, we're selling you the company. Here's what we have planned, and fucking Disney could go, okay. So we're gonna put a pair of mouse ears on Austin Theory, and he's gonna be the guy that beats Roman Reigns in 2 weeks. Bye.
Hooray.
Like, and
Oh!
it seems stupid to do that. Honestly, it really does. But there's no saying, fucking Saudis could end up getting it. Be like, oh, nope, we want Andre the Giant to win it.
Just fucking
Security brings
just fucking, I'm just like, hey, town down my ass, huh? Just fucking.
How upset
Oh
would the
my
Saudis
God.
be if they bought WWE and realized, like, oh, Andre's dead. That
Right?
was Macho Man.
Yeah.
We've been selling a
can't
bill
get
of goods.
But you know what I'm saying though, like, so I think that in my
Yes?
estimation, they're probably thinking that this is kind of this may be their swan song, as it were. Current creative. They're like,
This
hey,
Mania?
yes. Like, this is where all of our
Oh.
big moments come to. And when the next guy takes over, that's his shift. That's not on us anymore. And it might be, like maybe they get bought up, and maybe creative and Triple H and everybody else remains exactly where they are now.
Entrenched.
It absolutely could be, because that's that's a problem sometimes. But again, you got people who know what they're doing. But I don't know, man. Like I just that's why I feel like we're gonna get some real big conclusions here. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I don't know that Roman will retain, but it's just a thought I want to pop out there for discussion, and you guys have not disappointed me.
Well, Maniac, what's your
Very
take?
upset.
What's your take?
On which part? We went off on so many tangents on that one.
Dude,
Shut
welcome,
up, Pat.
welcome,
Fucking pick one.
welcome to Thunderdome, buddy. That you wanted to be on the
Oh, yeah.
podcast. This is what you were getting into.
Jerk holes.
Pick one.
Good talk, Pat. Glad you're here.
My heart wants Roman to lose at WrestleMania. But now, with all this talk, my
But your
brain is saying
asshole says what?
it's going to be maybe one title. And that would be the WWE Championship.
One title.
And then,
Oh,
Yeah.
one of us.
One finger, the Ricochet.
No. Oh.
oh,
We went so
I'm
long
saying,
without that,
yeah.
Tom. God
I
damn
forgot.
it.
I forgot all about it, and here we are.
You're welcome.
Welcome back.
And again, that's I think what I've been saying from the beginning. Well, not from the beginning, but from the last 6 months or so. Is that, yeah, let Reigns lose one title and hold the other one. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Now, I want to talk about AEW.
I don't.
Okay, too bad. Too bad.
Do we have time to talk about
All
AEW?
right. Yeah, we always got time. Listen,
Okay.
I can't believe we're still doing this. It's fucking February. It's fucking February. But
What?
I'm
What
about to
what
ask.
do you mean?
I'm about to ask about CM Punk.
God
and
damn
the
it.
legitimacy
No,
of him
no.
coming
Thanks,
back.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, here, listen. Okay, I'm gonna cite my sources.
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
source,
You gonna
I'll
talk down-
source an
are you-
ass
oh, wait,
whooping
stop.
for you.
Is Beef going to talk down to us in a language that everybody can easily
Stop
understand?
it. Stop it, Tom.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Don't need a freaking
By the way, we're working on
stupid
that one.
punk.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Wish you didn't.
So, all right. CM Punk posted something on Instagram.
Fuck them.
Is that just like Dax Hardwood?
All right,
posted
let him
something on Instagram
talk.
with-
Let the man talk.
No.
Beef, what?
CM Punk posted something on Instagram. I think it was an Ice-T quote about
Purple Rain.
forgiving. Nope, that's Prince. Like, forgiving somebody doesn't mean you have to be like best friends with them. And I'm paraphrasing, but basically, like, you know, like, just because you had some shit happen to you doesn't mean that you can't be like work in the same vicinity as somebody else. And that really kind of lit Twitter on fire, or not Twitter. I'm sorry, it was Twitter. CM Punk's not on Instagram, I don't think. And then fast forward to last night. MJF used the words, and I quote,
Yep.
"best in the world," 2 or 3 times in the same promo.
Do you think he only did that just because he knew of the CM Punk tweet and just did that just to kind of stir up shit amongst the smarks? Because he's good for doing that.
Maybe. But here's the other side of the coin. And I don't think we kind of mentioned this too much. We talked about how everybody, you know, was calling him toxic. And all of the veterans are like, oh, this is Phil. But the non-veterans seem really kind of smitten with him. FTR, for example, big fans. They didn't know Punk in WWE. First time they met him was in AEW. Obviously, they're big fans. Jade Cargill, who I think would be a powerful ally. Honestly, it would not surprise me if MJF was in this corner as well. I know that it sounds crazy, but I am absolutely still in the camp of, hey, let's fucking work this or shoot this into a work. Like, let's have Punk and FTR come back and be the ones to dethrone the Elite for the 6-men titles, for the Trios Championship.
Dude, it would make all the money in the world and it would be interesting as fuck.
Absolutely. And again, like we kind of talked about it, I mentioned it, that like in the last 4 or 5 months, we've been damn near WWE exclusive. Despite AEW having great shows every single week, despite AEW putting on damn near perfect pay-per-views. From about Clash at the Castle onward, we've been very much centered towards WWE, whereas we were not previously. And I don't think that that's an us thing. I think that that's like a wrestling world thing. Like, is AEW still getting ratings? Yeah, they're still doing about 1 million, a little under every week. Perfectly serviceable. But I think that bringing Punk back and like working that angle would absolutely set the wrestling world on fire and kind of tip the scales back towards AEW, maybe for a short term, but you know, who knows where they go from there.
Man, I really hope that they could. I really hope that they could make something work because, dude, that would be so great. And those FTR and Punk would be such a good pairing on, not even just in the ring, but like on TV. It would just it's awesome. But the problem is, man, yeah, you don't have to be friends with the people you're working with. That is absolutely 100% true. However, what you need to do is you need to be able to get out of your own way. And
That's a fine point.
Punk has to be able to get out of his own fucking way and watch his fucking mouth. Like, and that's part of the problem.
Oh,
man,
I don't know,
is
man.
Things will be good for a time, and then Punk will do something fucking stupid.
I mean, Tony's got to know that, and I think that like any discussions between the two start with Tony saying, hey man, like I gave you enough rope to hang yourself with, and you did. So moving forward, A, zero tolerance, and B, like don't start shit. And I think just in general, I think that Tony's had a little bit more of a handle on things, and realized kind of the folly of his ways. That he can't just like trust grown men to be good and virtuous. That he actually has to step in and kind of mediate.
So that being all fine and good, like Tony can say that, but I just with the way that Punk is and has been historically, it just I really feel like I'm with Poot here. Like it's one of those things where like, okay, Tony will have this talk with Punk. Punk will be calm, smooth everything out, and then after a time, he's going to be hurt, he's going to be old, he's going to be tired, he's going to work with fucking children, and it just happens all over again. I mean, it's not going to be another grape bomb, but like something will upset him and something will make him grouchy and grumpy pants, and we'll be right back where we were before because someone will say something to him or someone will say the wrong thing, get his ass chapped, and he won't be able to just let it roll off his back and be like, well, maybe they had a bad day, or like, well, maybe I was a dickhead, or like, well, maybe that's just, like your opinion, man. He's going to take it to heart. He's going to get, that's not my wind. I'm in the garage. He's going to take it to heart. He's going to get cranky. And we're going to be right back where we were, where he flips out. And I don't know. Like, the dude has a history. And he doesn't seem like he's the most open to change type fellow. So I'm not optimistic. That's all I'm saying.
Pat, do you think the juice is worth the squeeze?
No, not in the least. Not at all.
Why? Expound. Show your work.
So I would say Tony Khan.
Show your work.
If this were to happen, I was Tony Khan. Punk did what he did at the media scrum, and he wanted to apologize. I would accept the apology, but I would treat it like if my kids do something wrong and I have to take something away from them, they can come and apologize to me. But just because they apologized, I accept their apology, but I'm not giving whatever I took away from them back because they need to learn what they did was wrong. Just like Punk needs to understand what he did was wrong, and I'm not going to take you back just because you say you're sorry, you say you're going to change. I have to see it from somewhere else that you're going to change. Because I'm not going through that hell that you put me through the last time.
Not going to have another round of the bullshittery.
Yes.
I just feel like there's that there is some tread in those tires, and that there is some good that can be done, and I feel like there's money to be made and there's ratings to be had. If I get it, I mean, I do, but I honestly think that the court of public opinion crucified Punk because of his history, which is fair, but the elite, and again, I'm big fans of Omega and the Bucks. I want that noted. They were given a slap on the wrist. They were told to stay away for 2 months, probably with pay. They came back and eventually won those titles back. And yes, It was a best of 7 series, so it wasn't immediate. But they won those titles back in Southern California. Oh my, what a surprise. You know, if this were a fair and just thing, both parties would be punished the exact same way. Am I wrong?
Call it
Okay,
you are.
well, hold on.
I mean, you're not
Speaking, you
wrong,
wanna
but
go fair and just. Don't sometimes, in let's say the criminal world, a first-time offender get a little bit less of a punishment than a repeat offender?
Whoops.
And
I mean, but that's not so that's okay. That's apples and oranges, because you're talking about what a judge does. In the mind of the jury, they're not supposed to take any of that into the account. In the mind of the jury, they're only supposed to look at this altercation, at this situation. And again, I'm not saying that CM Punk has not been a problem. He absolutely has. Absolutely.
got to be judge, jury, and executioner.
But
isn't Tony Khan the judge?
you're
Yes.
right.
yes,
You're right. And he can
Judging
mitigate
by the
how-
body language from Brawl Out, no.
Well,
And
yeah,
That's also true.
fair point.
and that's also the thing there too. Yes, there was the altercation or whatever that happened backstage, but if you feel like Punk got more of a punishment than the Elite on that,
Which
Well,
he
maybe-
absolutely has.
well, maybe it's deservedly so, because the Elite weren't out there making their boss look like a fucking weak little punk ass bitch, where Punk was, and that's on Tony Khan to correct. And if he corrected it, and his way of dealing with it was to deal out a harsher sentence to
Yeah,
Punk
but
than the
but
Elite,
it all
then
stems from
that's
but-
his prerogative.
but it all stems from Hangman going off the cuff with CM Punk. So, and again, like at this point, it is absolutely a he said, she said. We're not going to know who precipitated what. We're not going to know who did what. We're not going to know what was what.
Well, then why do we care? Then why do we care what punishment was dealt out or not? Because it's already past the point. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't.
I like. That's the thing.
Is
If-
Kenny Omega a bigger star than CM Punk?
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think so.
Yes, I think you're right.
I don't think so. I think that Kenny Omega is more talented than CM Punk. But I think that CM Punk can run promos around Kenny Omega.
Are you okay? Hold on. No. That's
But
the-
Kenny
being a
Omega
bigger-
has
being a-
never hit the pinnacle of sports entertainment. He was big in Japan, and he has been huge for AEW. But AEW pulls less than half of the ratings that WWE does. Less than what they did when Punk was on top.
So you're telling me
I think that
if
CM
Kenny
Punk is a bigger star than Kenny Omega.
overall or currently? Because currently, Kenny Omega is.
Currently. I'll say it currently.
No, you know what? I'm gonna back the champ on this one, because man, Omega is pervasive. He is. He's a huge. He's an institution in Japan, and he's a big name in America. But man, you ask a random human being, they are more likely to know the name CM Punk than they are Kenny Omega.
Yeah, but again, now we're comparing apples and oranges, because if you ask anybody in Japan, they're absolutely going to tell you that Kenny Omega is a bigger star. They're going to know, the average fan over there is going to know who Kenny Omega is over CM Punk.
I would challenge that. I would say it's probably equal.
Come on.
I
Really?
because WWE is a global brand. Like, that's the thing. And again, I am in no way, shape, or form trying to say that the CM Punk currently, the Phil Brooks, is better at his job than Kenny Omega is. Not at all.
You
Kenny
just
Omega-
did say that. I said, are you asking who's a bigger star currently or all time? And you said currently.
Think of my words. Listen to what I'm saying. Bigger star does not mean better pro wrestler. Better pro wrestler. Chris Benoit was the best wrestler in the world. He was never a bigger star than Shawn Michaels. Kurt
Facts.
Angle Kurt Angle was a great professional wrestler. He was never a bigger star than John Cena. Bret Hart was the greatest technical wrestler to lace a pair of boots, and he's not a bigger star than Shawn Michaels is.
Facts.
Stars and wrestling are not one and the same. When I'm talking about stars, I'm talking about, like Poop mentioned, knowledge and ratings. And here are, like Ransom said, facts. When Punk was on programming, so were eyes. And if he came back now, after the kerfuffle in August, if you don't think that they catch an extra 250,000 to 500,000 viewers, maybe not hold that. But if you think that they don't catch that for his return, you're crazy. I think he would absolutely spike viewership for the short term, and if they can keep those viewers, great.
So I'm missing something here. Why are we having the CM Punk versus Kenny Omega debate?
Well, because I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Oh, okay.
So if the Elite were just wrestlers and not EVPs, if they weren't the idea men behind AEW that came to Tony Khan and were like,
Tony,
hey, we need some money because we have this awesome idea. If they were just fucking Miro and Keith Lee and fucking Sting, let's say, I think that they're all disciplined equally. Whether that be 6 months without pay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
But because the Elite are the Elite, they got preferential treatment. They got 2 months off, they got a slap on the wrist, and now they're right back to where they were before they cut off.
But we don't know exactly what the details of them, the time that they were off TV.
Nobody does, and nobody knows the detail of the altercation.
Right, and also we don't also know the the details of how much Punk was punished or not, because part of it can and probably was him healing from injury as well too.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I bring this up, because he's allegedly going to be available in a couple of months.
Well, my
available as in healthy or available as in
healthy,
free of contract? Okay.
No, healthy. He is still under contract with AEW. The last report I saw was that they hadn't talked. I mean, they probably talked, but they haven't made any pervasive moves forward. But Punk has not been released, and that's what everybody's been saying since fucking minute one. Is that Punk's gonna be released? Punk's gonna be released right now. Watch for Punk to be released. Watch for Punk to be released. Here we are, 6 months later, and he's still got a job. So I absolutely, and by dint of that, I think that Tony Khan sees and understands what I'm putting down. That I think that he has some tread left in the tire. And that if you can point him in the right direction, keep a handler with him, and keep him happy, I think that there is money to be made, ratings to be had.
How far do you go to keep him happy, though, man? How far do you go?
Big fucking if.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, he's a diva, and we know this. And again, this isn't Beef's just a Punk mark. No, Beef understands the business. Not an insider understands the business, but Beef understands that this would be huge money, and that there are still plenty of people that would benefit from rubbing elbows with CM Punk. So, what do you do to keep him happy? Do you pay him more? Probably. Do you give him another world title reign? I don't think you go that far. And again, I think that these are all things that Tony needs to make very clear. Hey, you had your run. Now it's time for you to do what you said you were going to do, which is putting over younger talent, which is getting the younger talent helping the younger talent, which I think is key. A guy like Ricky Starks could pair up with CM Punk either as a tag or like a protege or like whatever, and be through the fucking moon. If you let's just say, and again, this is B fantasy booking. Let's say that you bring Punk back for Double or Nothing. Him and FTR beat the Elite for the titles, and they lose them back at All Out or whatever. And Punk starts this journey with Ricky Starks, kind of mentors him or whatever. Ricky Starks becomes the guy to beat MJF with Punk in his corner, therefore kind of continuing the Punk MJF thing, but Ricky Starks getting, and I think Ricky Starks is going to be huge no matter what, but Ricky Starks rubbing those elbows becomes an even bigger guy. Like, there's absolutely things that can be done here. I just think that, absolutely, they need to be crystal clear with Punk and say, hey, listen, you're probably not going to get another title run unless the story deems it. And like, we're not putting up with you shooting on anybody anymore.
I just
Like, you want to go out and you have a good promo, that's fine. Don't bring out personal shit. Don't shoot. That's what it's going to come to.
But I feel like the problem with Punk is that, like, he's not, like, he's going to try and politic himself into another title run, try and sway the story. Like, it's the thing from, what is it, The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, man, because
I will die on this hill. I don't think he politicked himself into that title run. I think that title run was meant for MJF to get the upper hand, and by beating his nemesis CM Punk, bringing a closure to that circle. I don't think he had any aspirations of being champion. I think he wanted to put MJF over as champion. And because of everything that happened, including his injury, that just precluded that. I honestly, and yes, I know that Phil Brooks has an ego. Absolutely. And I just want to believe, I guess, that I don't think that he cares about that title as much as we think that he cares.
So I'm kind of in line with what Pat said earlier on, bringing it back around, saying, when your kid does something, you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean they're going to get back what they want or anything like that. I don't know, if I'm Tony Khan, and this is just me personally, I look at the whole body of things. I look at what happened before, and yes, I decided to bring him on and do business with Punk. Despite the whole he said, she said, this and that, everything that happened with WWE, regardless of whether I think Punk was in the right or wrong or whatever, I know that there's history there, but I bring him on because I believe he's going to be able to do business. Okay, cool. Then the shit from All Out happens. And now
I was going to say I'm boring. What's happening here?
I forgot where I was now. Damn it. Oh, well.
Oh,
Sorry.
Lord.
My leg.
I have no idea.
My leg. Well, I mean,
Suck it.
I would like to imagine if Punk comes back, that it would be sunshine and roses and happiness and everything. But man, I think we would get a program and a half out of him, and then he would do some fucked up stuff, and then that would be the end of it.
A wise man once said,
Tell me to hold on.
fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, strike three.
Ooh, I like that.
Stop quoting The Office, Tom.
Thanks, Biff. Thanks,
Don't
Biff
tell me how to live
Tannen.
my life. Don't tell me how to live my life.
To be fair, and
I'm
I'm
face on our show.
not trying to get into a debate. I'm just going to say that I think that what he did in WWE was fine. I think that him leaving because of poor booking of himself and Daniel Bryan absolutely was on point. I wasn't a fan of him throwing Colt Cabana under the bus either time. That has not resonated well with me. So like everybody wants to point to WWE like he's this big fucking villain. No. Let's all
No.
remember what fucking 2014 was. 2014 was a fucking joke. So like I don't put that one on Punk, but everybody wants to. Everybody wants to point back, say, "Oh, look at this guy. He's got a history." Yeah, he worked for a shitty fucking employer that couldn't see their fucking nose from their face.
Did I ever say that he was the villain in WWE? I said
You
he
didn't.
No,
but
I said he had history. I said whether you agree or disagree, because I'm sure there are people out there that absolutely would disagree with how things ended with Punk and WWE. I'm more so on the side of Punk from the WWE departure. I get it. He cited a whole bunch.
I just don't think it's fair to villainize him with this scenario based on last scenario, and that's what my point was. That I don't think that the punishment fit the crime. And again, like we don't. You're 100% right. He might be back, and he may have just not been paid for 2 months. I don't know. My point is, I would love to see him back because I think that there is tread on the tire. And you know what? Like, fucking bookmark this episode. If he comes back at the Double or Nothing or whatever, and then it turns into a fucking shit show where he doesn't put anybody else over or anything else, and he just becomes, more of what we've seen of the aging Phil Brooks, then yeah, you know what? I will eat my words with a side salad. But like I
want you to
eat your words with a big old slice of American cheese.
That's I bit into a sausage sandwich the other day, and I had a chomp or two that actually got down the gullet before realizing that there were cheddar cheese on it.
No!
Promptly threw up. Yeah.
Did you really?
I sure did. And Dunkin' Donuts in the Lower Borough Tarentum area has still not gotten back to me. I sure am. Has still not gotten back to me. And they shorted me a fucking donut. So fuck you, Dunkin' Donuts. I want my fucking donut, and you owe me some reparations.
You owe me reciprocity.
You owe me stomach bile.
You owe me some money.
Oh my god!
All right, I think
play with the lights.
I think we've talked here. I think talk has happened. Anybody else got anything else to say before?
Yeah, I got plenty to say.
Okay.
None of it's pertinent, nor is it.
Now, I'm curious. Pat,
I love
Pat,
people, and you're going to hear about it.
Pat, you got to stump the chumps for us?
I do not.
Oh,
fucking Pat. Could have had a live Stump the Chumps.
You'll get one next week. Don't you worry about it.
Don't you tell me what I get. I'll get one when I get it.
I love silent smug Pat. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Just like, hey, fuck you. Like,
just do me a favor. When I get it to you, if Beef is like 100% confident on the answer, go with something else.
Oh wow! Wow, that's shade.
Well, that's good news. That's good news for you because I'm 100% confident that you're gonna blow your lead with the Cruiserweight Open. So that's good news for you in the long run, right?
Did you even do the standings yet?
I did, and you get to hear them when the rest of the rabble gets to hear them on Saturday when that episode comes out.
Boy, there's lots of healing up going on around here.
Boom. Yeah. In all seriousness, though, Pat, we really do appreciate, the questions and the camaraderie, and you guys participating in the Cruiserweight Open. We, it's good to have you aboard every now and again.
Yeah, if you didn't send in Stump the Chumps, nobody else would. So
we'd have to revert back to hot tag trivia, and who wants that?
Nobody.
Nope.
Wow.
I'm gonna give you a bunch of AWA questions and hot tag.
Everybody's just like new ideas. Fuck them. Apparently, that's what happens. Anyway,
good idea. What are you talking about?
It was an old idea. How dare you?
Anyway, all right.
I have an old idea. Burritos.
Ah, yes, delicious burritos. Thank you all very much for listening to the Pittsburgh Pile Driver Podcast. We really appreciate you taking a listen. Make sure you go subscribe to Frig Off Ransom. That's right, he's leading the pack this week. Go ahead and subscribe over to Frig Off Ransom over there on YouTube. Just do it. He's a funny, great boy. Also, thank you very much to Casual Gaming Dad himself, Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom, and his page Casual Gaming Dad over on Facebook. Also, subscribe to him on YouTube. That's Casual Gaming Dad and Casual Gaming Dad 84 over on Twitch. Make sure you follow him, subscribe to him, any which way you care to do it.
Uppercut.
Thanks. Also, we
Tom.
also we would like you to go over to Gould Gaming. That's gouldgaming.com and buy yourself some awesome Casual Gaming Dad merch, and also get yourself your very own Pittsburgh Pile Driver Podcast t-shirt. It's not $49.99. You want to talk about old things? That's an old thing. $49.99, you idiots. It's not that. It's cheaper than that,
Careful.
but it has the quality of $49.99. That's right. Yes, it does. We also want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler and his work with independent wrestling in the greater Pennsylvania Commonwealth. We really appreciate that. And we also want to thank the Maniac himself. Pat, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, always. We like having you around. We give you a lot of the business, but we like your face. And
Don't speak for me.
also want to thank Beef for his work with his Rumble reviews and leading up to Mania as well. We really appreciate that. Padding the channel a tad. Yeah, and make sure you go follow Poot the Bard over on Twitch, because I'm streaming now, bitches, and I had a lot of fun. I just streamed a game called Super Hot. It's a weird game. It's a really weird game, but it's a lot of fun. For myself, the Barbarian, Poot the Bard, baby. For Casual Gaming Dad, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Yeah, Bomb Tom. What?
I like how everybody that's fucking plebbing it out down there on the middle to lower end of the point scale is stealing my fucking gimmick. I thought Poot was the fucking gimmick thief. What's going on here?
I do what I want.
They'll do what they want. What do they have to lose, right?
I'm surprised Beef didn't go upper punk.
Wow. Okay. Tom getting salty over here. Man, of all the flavors you could have chosen at the end of this podcast, you chose salty.
Yep.
The Wrestling Encyclopedia and our Cruiserweight champion, Beef the Legend, and for the Maniac himself, the Midgard Maniac, Pat, have a good day, evening, whenever you're listening to this. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Uppercut.
Charlotte Flair still sucks.
Shut up, Pat.